In episode 6, we had to look at why Melanie took the train from Wilfred. Their relationship actually started off very strong as they built the train together. Melanie was the engineer, Wilfred being the architect. At one point, Wilfred even said that Snowpiercer was as much Melanie's as it was his. But as they continued to fine-tune the train, that's when the relationship started to fracture. It started during the plans for the night car, with Melanie thinking that it was a waste of time. She thought they needed more scientists and productive members of society, not a brothel. Melanie also thought that they needed less security, more scientists, with Wilfred thinking the opposite. They eventually came to an agreement. But this was the moment where Wilfred reminds Melanie who's in charge, saying that if she didn't like it, your family can stay behind because Snowpiercer runs on my order. And then finally, the day that Snowpiercer was set to launch, Javi is down train with Melanie and Ben in the engine room as Melanie is trying to get in touch with her family because they still haven't arrived on Snowpiercer. A crowd was outside forming, trying to get onto the train, and the crowd was growing by the minute. Wilfred came storming in, blaming Melanie and Ben because the train's about to be overrun because of lack of security, something that he wanted. So this crowd is outside, the train's about to be overrun, and they still have about 30 minutes before they can even leave the station. Wilfred is getting more and more stressed out, and then he looks outside and sees a group of people that he doesn't recognize claiming that they have tickets for the train. And Melanie says, yeah, those are the scientists that we agreed upon. Wilfred, though, says, no, they're not coming aboard. I need more jackboots. And Melanie tells him, I'm not leaving without all of them. She doesn't even wait for Wilfred to respond, saying, look, let's just let them on and argue about this later. We don't have time to sit here and squabble. And Wilfred says, no, you're right. And he radios to the soldiers to terminate them. And Melanie has to watch her scientists get gunned down. And this is absolutely shocking to Melanie. She barely hears Wilfred tell her, once again, this train runs on my order. Watching her scientists get gunned down is really the last straw for Melanie. Wilfred then tells her and Ben, I'm running down train, and we'll open fire on anybody who tries to storm and get on in Snowpiercer. And after about 20 minutes, Melanie's family still hasn't arrived. But at this point, the crowd has broken through the gates. They get a message from Wilfred saying as soon as he gets on the train, they're leaving. And Ben lets him know, yeah, that's fine. We have about 6 minutes until launch. But Ben then turns to Melanie and says, we can get this train out of here in 1 minute. You have to make the call, though, to go. And with Melanie's family still not on board, she tells Ben, I'm heading down train to find them. But he says, no, you can't get off this train. I'm not leaving you. We can't let that monster be in charge of what's left of humanity. If you want to save the train and save the future, we have to go now. So as Melanie is bawling her eyes out, knowing that she's leaving her family behind, she makes the tough decision to start the train and leave. This leaves Wilfred outside, shocked as his train takes off without him. Now, present-day Melanie is heading to the research center, and she arrives, but it was a tough journey. Her sled got stuck, and it forced her to walk the couple hundred yards to the station. While trying to force her way in, she notices a body outside that has a bullet wound to the head. And upon getting into the station, when she's looking around, she notices the body of a woman who slit her wrist. So it seemed like a pretty grim situation towards the end. She sets up shop with plans the next day to get the station up and running. She wakes up really early in the morning and starts clearing off the solar panels, but as she's doing it, she finds a third body. She keeps clearing off the panels, though, and is able, with the help of the sun and the solar panels, to power up the station. She then heads out to go get the rest of her gear from that stuck sled. Unfortunately, though, she arrives to see that it's all under an avalanche. And this leaves Melanie with one ration pack and a couple of pieces of candy for a month. And Tom Hanks, well, he had a volleyball, but Melanie doesn't have that. She's all alone in the middle of nowhere, and her mind starts playing tricks on her, where she starts having conversations with a fake Wilfred. And the fake Wilfred is kind of teasing her about the fact that she has no food, really, telling her that the woman who slit her wrist did it after about 3 months. And Melanie reminds fake Wilfred that she only needs to last 1 month, as she draws up a calendar on the board to figure out how many days left she has until Snowpiercer returns. She then just sits and waits for the first balloon to connect, and when it does, she's thrilled. The problem is, she's going through her food too quickly, and she's starting to get really concerned about the fact that she might not make it till the end of the month. And as she's trying to ration out what little food she has left, that's when fake Leighton comes and visits her, saying, yeah, how's it feel? This is exactly what the Dale had to deal with for years. And as fake Leighton is criticizing her, she hears her rummaging and goes to check it out, and she sees a rat, or at least what she thinks is a rat. She doesn't really know if her mind is playing tricks on her because it's pretty impossible to think that rats could have survived 150 below zero. But just in case it is real, she goes outside, cuts a little piece of the arm off that's outside, and sets up a trap for the rat. And then she just waits. And as she's waiting, her and fake Wilfred start discussing the people that were found in the station dead. And Melanie's pretty sure that the woman and the guy outside were married because she saw it on a screensaver. With Wilfred pointing out that the woman must have sacrificed the guy because he was sick in order to get more food and rations. Wilfred starts to paint the parallel of what Melanie did to her own family, with Melanie defending the woman, saying, well, what else could she have done? Melanie then hears something, though, and goes to check the trap, and to her shock, there is in fact a rat inside of it. She even touches it to make sure it's real. And fake Leighton tells her about this recipe that he has for rat, but she says, no, I think I have a better idea. And she whips up a batch of paint and puts the rat inside of it and then lets it scurry off because she wants to follow this thing to see where it's going. And she follows it to a wall where she totally Chip and Joanna Gaines this thing, ripping it apart. And when she peeks her head inside of it, there are a bunch of rats because behind this wall, there was a geothermal vent that nobody knew about. I mean, it's a minor miracle. And that's when fake Alex comes to visit her mom. And she's really the only one that's showing support for Melanie, telling her how awesome this is. They both start discussing how the rats must have come for the humans, but found the geothermal vent instead. And this geothermal vent had really kept the rats warm, and they just started banging their brains out, reproducing. But this is the food supply that Melanie's going to have to work with for the next 3 weeks. It'll also help with her energy supply. She had enough energy for 1 month, but with this geothermal vent, which will take away the power from the heat, and that'll help her database power. She starts telling fake Alex how she's planning on just walking to the train stop. She doesn't really have an option, but she can't wait to get back on the train and be reunited with her daughter. The next day, she's waiting for the second to last balloon to connect, but the research center is hit by a really bad storm, and it completely knocks the radio tower over, destroying not only the radio tower, but also her database as well. And this is a big issue because she still has about 2 weeks until the train is supposed to return. She's also got fake Wilfred mocking her during all of this, which is really stressing her out. He starts telling her how the mission has failed, but she says no, it hasn't failed yet. She then goes outside and hooks up a pulley system to pull the tower back up, and she's able to do it. When she goes back inside, it works because her systems all come back online. The last balloon connects, she's excited, she just has to wait for the results and the train to come. And when Snowpiercer gets in range about 2 days early, she starts trying to radio Snowpiercer, but it's not working. She's not hearing anything. The day before, she does the same thing, doesn't hear anything. And 2 days after Snowpiercer was supposed to arrive, she's still coming up empty on the radio. She's losing energy, she's losing hope, and she decides to put a message to Alex, hoping that maybe Alex will hear it, apologizing, saying this time she really thought it'd be different. She thought she could make it back to the train. I mean, it's as broken as a Melanie Cavill we've ever seen. But then she starts to hear a rumbling and realizes, oh my God, it's Snowpiercer. So she starts running towards the train stop, but she realizes that the train is moving way too fast and needs to slow down. And she's radioing the train to tell them this, but they're not listening. Gets to the point where she has to ditch her gear and just run towards the train. But once again, the train doesn't slow down. It keeps flying by, and Melanie realizes, I'm not going to be able to get on this thing. And as the train does go by, she's able to see Alex in the back of Big Alice screaming, Mom. As just like Wilfred 7 years back, she is left in shock because she is left behind. Thanks for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to this channel. Like the video if you liked it. Hit thumbs down if you don't. Be nice in the comments section. Nasty comments hurt my feelings. I work hard on these. If I make a mistake, it happens. If you don't see the next video up in the end screen, it'll be up soon. Sharing is caring. Put it on your MySpace page or your away message. And check out my podcast, Scene Invaders, wherever you listen to podcasts.